Several countries are flying their citizens out of Wuhan, including the United States. A plane carrying more than 200 Americans out of China just landed at an Air Force base in California. The passengers are mostly staff from the U.S. consulate in Wuhan, as well as a handful of other Americans. It was chartered by the U.S. government. It made a stop in Alaska for refueling, where passengers were screened for any signs of illness. Freelance reporter Danielle Robertson is at that March Air Reserve base in Southern California. So what was the scene when that plane landed, Danielle?
Yeah, this plane did land about 1 hour ago, and the passengers are still on board this plane. They have not left yet, and they were greeted by 3 police cars, 3 buses, and a swarm of medical professionals that were dressed head to toe on this passenger plane, and right now they're just working on taking out the luggage from that plane. As you can imagine, this is going to be a very slow and meticulous process. They don't want to rush this procedure. Of course, any one of these 201 passengers aboard this aircraft could have contracted this deadly coronavirus, as they have all arrived from Wuhan, the epicenter of where this virus began. They have laid out a white tarp on the concrete, laying out the area that the passengers will walk on once they step off that plane, and it is expected they are going to be loaded into 3 buses and taken to another area of this military airbase where they will be quarantined. Of course, this is just the beginning of a long journey for these passengers. It is going to take some time for them to screen every single person and ensure that none of them do present any of those symptoms, including flu-like symptoms, fever, coughing, shortness of breath. Of course, symptoms do not show up straight away. Some people have this so what happens here now at this military base is crucial to protecting the rest of the country.
And what else is the U.S. government considering, Danielle, to perhaps help Americans who are still stuck in Wuhan?
Yeah, there are 1,000 American citizens still in China, in the Wuhan area, in that red zone that still remains in lockdown. These 201 passengers lucky to be back in the United States. Of course, you can imagine when they arrived in Alaska and when they arrived back here in California, they erupted in cheers, excited to be back home and away from that lockdown area. The US was only allowed to get this plane approved to arrive here because they were able to talk to the Chinese foreign officials, and they allowed that plane to take the passengers away. So in order for the US to be able to send more planes, they do have to talk to the China Foreign Ministry and to see what allocations they are allowed to send there. Given the fact that this virus is spreading rapidly and the emergency level, that will also help decipher what resources they can allocate for those Americans still stuck and waiting and searching for answers back in China. The White House, though, has said that they may suspend flights between China and the United States. They're working on that at the moment, and some American airlines have also cut back on some of the flights between the two countries. The alert level in Wuhan has been raised to 4, and there's also been more screenings put in place across the United States. 20 airports now have a meticulous screening process for all inbound flights that are coming in from China. So there is a lot going on. This is still going to take a while until we are going to know exactly if any of the passengers on this plane behind me do have contracted this coronavirus. Of course, the death toll is rising. Scientists are scrambling to find a vaccine, and authorities is also scrambling to try and find more evacuation options.
Thank you, Danielle. That's freelance reporter Danielle Robertson at the March Air Reserve Base in Southern California.